so that you are not seen. Here comes the recording. All right. So let me start again real quick. Here's your composition notebook and what the difference between embedding a video, so being able to slide it, and having it in there where it's locked in place. Both of them are still going to work when you send them to students. We just don't have the students allowed to manipulate it, which sometimes can be a problem depending on the level of student or who the student is. A way that we can enter vocabulary, so if I'm here, I enter my vocabulary already, I put all my blanks. Yes, this looks easy. I may have some students that can write in here. I may have some students that need to pick up things and drop them. So we can create drag and drops. I also can create things like this, which is page 2 of my notebook, where depending on your content, I'm going to want my students to be able to pick something up and move it. So I want them to move the word, but I don't want them to be able to move the background. Notice that the background doesn't move. So if they click anywhere that they're not supposed to, it's not going to move. My words will move all over. If I go to the next slide, I can create your matches. So I want them to match a picture with a word, asexual reproduction. They're sliding both of them. When they try to move the background, they can't move the background, but they can just slide the things over that we're looking for. Also, I can have them add a definition. We use graphic organizers a lot in school, or they ask us to. Sometimes you're creating a picture with your vocabulary words. You're creating different Venn diagrams and such, depending on what you're working on. We can do all of this in here with your background locked. Then we show our students how they can add a picture, so they're adding their own picture to it. Here is the Venn diagram that I like to look at. So we ask them to put in a word. We give them the definition for some of them. So some of your students, you may start with just blank. They can handle all of this. Some of your students may need the definition. We ask them, what does that mean to them in their words? Then we take a look at adding a picture, and they move forward with everything that they can add here. So if you are a person where you click type, and sorry, I keep it in presentation mode, any place that you drop the box to say type here is accessible to the student. If the student says, well, I don't want to do this word, guess what? They can't change that word because I've locked it in place. Well, I want to change what this says. They can't change anything except for where I allow them to type. Nothing is going to change except for where type here is. Where we can create some warm-ups and we have them do different things. Oh no. This is, I will open the link. When you click on this, it takes them to the drawing feature, which Sherilyn was talking about, where they can actually draw what they're looking at, and they just import it into your notebook. For this, we have, what are we going to do with the words? So they can't access the picture. They're just changing things. The best part about this is me as the teacher, I can create everything I want on day 1 and just use it throughout the week. Here's another example. You put your 13 colonies in. You ask them, tell them what you want them to do. So on this page, I want them to drop a star on the Capitol, or we're going to say a heart because that's the person. I want them to drop a heart in New England. Well, this is New England. So I have them do something, but they're not able to. Here, same thing. They tell me about the plant structure. This is in their notebook, with the understanding that whatever I would have my students do in a notebook, in this notebook, they're now going to do in this notebook. So I have had students where I have to say, try to take a picture and upload your picture and do whatever I'm asking them to do in a notebook. I'm giving them that other step. Take a picture so I can see what you did. So this is taking that part away. They're actually just going to do it in their digital notebook. And then when we say flip back to page 7, they can go back to the 7th slide in their notebook and access whatever information they put in there.
I have a question.
Yes.
How do you access this template, or did you create this template yourself?
Yeah, so these are all, I'm going to give it to you. So
Okay.
I created it and I'm going to release it at the end, but I want to show you some other things first and how we can delete this. So I will give it to you with a bunch of other examples.
And this is on Google Slides, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep, this is Google Slides. If you are a timeline person or your social studies and you want to have things in, you drop it all in what you're looking for, and then you ask the students to do different things, but they actually have it in their notebook. You can have some analysis questions that are open-ended. I put everything in there. I change these often, so I keep the same format, but instead of having to continue to recreate, I use the same colors, I use everything the same. I just change that question, and what I'm asking of the students will of course change based on my question. You can put in, if you're looking for those fillers, you can put in a word find and nothing back here moves. They're just going to move what they're highlighting to show you what word they found. These are not words. It's fine. And how to create the multiplier here. I know we've used the multiplier in the past. It was pretty hard in Google Slides, but now that we have it, we're there. If you want to use different, based on whatever you're doing, you put everything in there, just like your notebook. This one is one of my favorites, to have them, you put something in behind there, they pick up a magnifying glass and they bring it over and it tells them the word that I put back there. I'm not sure if you've used Storyboard that, but we have storyboards here. You can create it. I have picture zooms, so you can zoom in on whatever's happening. And then this is a big one, highlighting text. So we give them the text and we want them to highlight certain things in pink, certain things in blue, yellow, and green. Here's where the magic is done. So that's some of the things. You can do a lot more. That's some of the things that you can do. If you click on view and you click master, once you get in here, this is where all of the magic is going to be created in this master slide. Any background information. So if use the raised hand feature, if you have done the create a slide and download it as a PNG or JPEG and then make it your background and go through all that process. When you do that, sometimes it gets skewed. So it looks a little like blurry when they download the picture. It sometimes is blurry when you bring it back as the background. This feature here allows it to be crisp. So it looks exactly the same, but I'm in the master slides. When you open a new slide, you're not going to have all of this, but I've created everything in one, and this is the one that I'm going to send you. So if you click on this one and you look at your notebooks, my 3s are usually blank. Sometimes I have 4s, depending on what I have. I can move everything in here. So I move it all around, pick what I want, type it all in here. Whatever you put in here is locked on the outside. So anything that you do not want your kids to be able to manipulate, you lock it in the master slide. Anything you want in here. Whatever you want blank. So if I want them to type in here, I keep it blank on this master slide, and then when I get out of the master slide, I add it to it. So let's go with, let me add here. What?
Quick question, just by working in the master slide, is that what locks everything?
Yes.
Okay.
So being in the master slide is going to lock everything for you. So whatever you want them to manipulate, don't do it in the master slide. That's the only step that catches people up sometimes, is they'll do it in the master slide and then the kids can't manipulate it. And with this, when you release it to your students, there's only certain things that they can do. So let's take a look back. So this is what you just seen. You've seen this not in the master, you've seen it in the actual assignment. I don't have any of the words here because they would be locked in. So I create it in the background. I can move this around. I create it in the background. It's added over here, and then it's locked when I go back out here. So I put those words were all in a line. The words are there. So that's the reason that this picture can't move, is because I created it in the master slide. In order to add a slide to your master slide, you're going to click on this little plus button right here. So if I click the down arrow, it's going to show me every single master slide that I have in my slide deck. Then I just go through and pick which one do I want to add. So it took it from out there to here, took it from my master to my actual slides. So let me show you this. This is if I was going to start from the beginning. So I'm extra blank, there's nothing on there. This is what it looks like. I can choose a background if I choose. And then I go into my master. It presents me with that layout. So every slide that would normally be in whatever layout I chose is here. This will also work if you go to SlideGo or you go to Slide Carnival or something like that and you get a really pretty background. This will work with that as well. If you create your own. So I went and found the composition notebook. I put it in here, same way you normally would create them. You just work in the master. So I got the composition notebook. I put it in my master. That created that initial background. And then I add whatever I want. So to this one, why is it not letting me write? Why is it not letting me write in here? What is going on? Where's my writing? You're told. Okay. Notice that even though I did it over here, it's not, when it comes over, I can add any other one. So I want to add that. I want to add that one. It's not taking over the same thing. It's not bringing over the same slides that were there before. Once you click this again, you can pick anything, bring only that over. It does not mean that you cannot add a slide not in the master and that it won't work. I can add a blank slide here. This is just going to be that slide that if I add a picture, the kids are going to be able to manipulate it. So if I add something to this, they can move it. It's all for what you want, but it's all in the same notebook. Making it look like a notebook is the biggest problem because you have to have that background. You have to have these tabs here. So when I send you this template, keep the tabs on the side and keep the background, or create your own tabs. And how you make it link, show of hands, is everyone aware of how to link between slides? Okay, I have one person who knows how to link between slides, so I will show you. In here, if I create if I click on this, I right click, so I clicked here and I add a blank text box. Right click, and then you want to link. It's going to give you the option to link to where. What slide in the presentation do you want to link to? I want to link to the first slide. I apply it. When you click that link, it's going to take you to the first slide. I must have added a space in here. So it brings you to a slide. So once again, when you have the background, probably shouldn't link this one because there's nowhere to go. I'm going to link it to slide 1. I see. You need to make sure that we leave the text blank. Oh my goodness. What's happening? What is happening here? Thank you for your patience. And it is linking to slide 1. Perfect. So you're going to copy and paste.
I learned we all need a pep talk.
Let's build one from the beginning. Let's go from the beginning so I can show you. Would everyone be okay if I share my entire screen so you can see the whole process? All right, so I did a Google search and I found a composition notebook. So here's my composition notebook that I want to use. Make sure you select a picture that's not grainy, like the picture I just chose. Very grainy. Drop it into your background. Notice every single one right here. The picture's on all of the slides that I have here. Is that what I want? No, so I need to adjust that to make it only on the first one. I'm okay if you want to open a Google slide and do it as we go as well. You're going to cut them down. to what you really want. You want this part. That's the background that I have here. So you choose only the part that you want. Then I'm going to add my tabs to it. You have your tabs here. Choose 3, 4, 5, whichever one you're going to use. However many tabs. Put your tabs in. This took me about 3 hours to create the first one. And then once I had them, I just duplicated all of them. So that's why you see so many blanks here, so that I could just keep using them and changing them. Here's the template from SlideGo. Here's another one to choose. None of these have the tabs in them. So I copy my tabs from the first one and I bring them over to wherever I want them. So I'm copying this whole background and I'm removing like this. I remove this, I have this, I duplicate it again, I duplicate it again. In one of my duplications, I change it. Vocabulary, I don't know, practice. I can. Notice this is the only one that changed. So once you duplicate it, this one changes. If I want to take this is my question. So what role do they play? And I want to give 3 answer choices. So for me, I'm going to have 2 of them. One student's going to have 3 answer choices. One student's going to have 4. So now you can see that I have a 3, a 4. If I duplicate it again, I can have what role do they play? So a student's just going to answer it. Notice that I only had to click to make that. So once I create it, I typically start with the most that a student needs, and then I scale it back based on what I want them to have. When you go to release this, and you're over here in these slides, and you want to release it, if you're only going to release to one student, or not one student, one group, this section, then you make a copy of this whole notebook, file, make a copy, call it whatever you want. I'm going to call it 1. It's loading on my end. So now I have the copy of it. I go into the master. I want to add that slide that I created. So I want to add one of these, depending on which one I want to give to group 1. I have 3 different ones. I add one of these to whichever group I want. That's going to bring it over into my population. click on this link and open this up so you can manipulate what I have. Click on this. Open up this link for you. Let's hope it works. Can someone let me know if it says you need access? Okay, so once you're in this, it's probably going to make more sense. Open it up for yourself and look at, go into the, I can see you all. Click on your, click on the master. I wonder if because you're all in the same one, I don't know if we can update it. Make a copy for yourself once you open that. Let's do it that way. Make a copy for yourself once you have it open. And then from there, once you have a copy open, then go into the master slides. You can close out of the one with the link once you have a copy of it. It will take a long time to load the initial time, but once they have it, I don't know, because this one is quite large. I created, if you go through, there's like 8 different templates in there. You won't have 8 different templates in the one that you release to your students. So what you release to your students will only be on the unit that you're working on. So if you are in the one that I just sent to you, under simple light, there's like 8 different things. You are not going to have that. We're going to create it from the bottom with just a unit. So if you also click in there, so click in and you are going to click from a template. So here's what I just did. I opened a blank one and then I went under my master. And under my master, I copied a page from the template that I just sent you and I pasted only that page. You have to make sure that you're under layouts when you drop it. If you drop it here, it drops to all. If you drop it in here, then I have what I want. So I drop it here, then you can change it, do all that. So poke around for a minute and look at the different activities that are in the master. So let's start from the top again. You open up a new Google Slides. You are going to view, click on the master. The master opens up the slides that are in the background. You have to be in the master in order to create something that your students cannot manipulate. You do not put on the slide what you want your students to do. So if it is simply just something your students are reading, you also can create it in the master, and then the students are just allowed to read it. When we create things, they can delete things, they can move things, all of that. All of the templates that I just sent you, you can use if you want to. You can download a background from anywhere else if that's what you choose to do. You could go to Slide Go, Slide Carnival. They usually have really cute ones if that's what you're into. If you like to make them a little more aesthetically pleasing, you can get one from there. And then make sure that you download it to Google to use it with a Google Slide. I'm waiting for mine to load. I'm not sure what's going on. So here, I just downloaded this like 30 seconds ago. I was waiting for it to load. I'm in the master now, and I have all of these slides that I can manipulate. This is much different than what they see on the outside. What they see on the outside is not this. So this is your layout. You're in here, we're manipulating. During our break, I'm gonna create the actual blank notebook background so that if all you have to do is change it to whatever you want it to, so that when we start the deeper dive, you can use the composition, or you can change the picture even though it has a composition in the background. You can snip and cut things into it with your snippet tool. If you have a worksheet and you want to use the actual information from that worksheet, you can snip it and enter it into the master slide as your image. If there are any slides that you see in there that you want to use, make sure that you right click on it and copy it, because then you can just paste it into your actual slides. So with this one, I started out blank. I added this composition notebook. I copied my tabs again. I'm going to duplicate that multiple times. And your tab layout is going to stay the same. So your tab layout stays the same except for this page number, which one you're going to bring forward or move backwards. Sorry, I did not see the questions in the chat box. Thank you for telling her how to get it. The pages that look like a notebook are really just layered images all in the master. So it's layered images, but they're all in the master slides, which allows it to be able to not move. So I'm going to show you one more thing before our break. So I just created a duplicate of this vocabulary here. And then when I come over here, I'm in my master. And this is how I take out whatever word I don't want. If I don't want it, I just take it out. And it gives me the blank template. So if this is something that you do in your class, what's the word, what's the picture, you create a blank one and leave it already blank. So then you just change the words every time you go to use it. I change the words. So if there's anything in mind that you say, I want to use this, create a copy of it. So duplicate it, right click, duplicate, and then erase it so that it's blank. Then of course, before you go to write in it, duplicate it again and fill it in with whatever word you're going to use. And fill in the information. So that's how if you notice, I have like a lot of the same thing. All I'm doing is duplicating and erasing the information. I change the pictures, keep everything else the same.